Walk through any cemetery, and the immediate feeling is one of quiet reverence. It looks peaceful, but that stillness masks the internal tension of what happens before a family ever steps onto the grounds. People in the middle of active grief are forced to make permanent, highly expensive legacy decisions. The underlying economics of this industry rely on information asymmetry. On one side, you have a massive, complex architecture of institutional knowledge and corporate pricing. On the other side, a consumer navigates this system completely blind. This imbalance creates harmful outcomes. Pricing stays obscured. High-pressure tactics are applied at a moment of maximum vulnerability. The system maintains silence regarding specific details families don't understand. This silence is an intentional mechanism. The system is designed to maximize profit by keeping the consumer confused. The damage extends to the people working inside the machine. If you sit on the other side of that desk long enough, you realize that a system that extracts wealth from the vulnerable is psychologically toxic to the people running it. You find yourself operating under a ghost authority. The people dictating quotas and hidden fees are entirely detached from the human reality. You execute decisions handed down from an obscured upper management that remains invisible to the families being served. When authority is detached from the ground floor, accountability vanishes. The machine sustains itself on momentum, rewarding those who maintain the confusion and phasing out anyone who asks for clarity. As an insider, your first instinct is to stay. You tell yourself you can be the one person who cares. But staying in that environment causes a slow, undeniable moral erosion. An architecture built on compromise cannot be reformed from the inside. Participating in it simply provides the fuel that keeps the confusion running. A moment eventually arrives where you look at your desk and the paperwork and realize you are merely surviving a machine. The response to not realization is often counterintuitive. We expect a clear path forward, but sometimes the call is simply to leave. Your assignment in a broken place has finished, so you walk out. You leave the corporate structure without a backup plan or financial certainty. It looks irrational on paper, but it is an act of obedience to a quiet, undeniable conviction. You might expect panic to follow the loss of structure. Instead, you feel a profound lightness, the sensation of finally shedding years of moral weight. Stepping into the unknown is the required price for alignment. The peace that follows proves the exit was a necessary act of obedience. That freedom allows for reconstruction. The new mission is to build an entirely new standard for the industry. The first technical pillar is structural clarity. When pricing is transparent and presented per a clean interface, the old games collapse. It is impossible to leverage hidden fees when the consumer sees every data point. The second pillar prioritizes education. By giving the buyer the tools to understand materials and timelines, you create a shield against the usual sales pressure. The third pillar uses technology to remove human error. Aerial drones inspect and document monument placements, delivering mathematically precise truth from above. These tools force honesty into a system that previously thrived on its absence. An aerial scan doesn't have a sales quota to meet. It simply reveals the physical truth, removing the human opportunity to hide facts or obscure the reality of the land. For the consumer, the experience changes completely. Families review their legacy options with confidence. They know what they are buying and why it matters. The blindfold is gone. The vulnerability that once defined this process is replaced by the strength of being properly educated. This work is about fundamental correction. I am here to correct the flaws inherent in the legacy system. Industry correction happens when you establish a standard so transparent that the old architecture of confusion can no longer survive contact with it. This logic applies far beyond cemeteries. It is a universal principle of truth. A person's ability to decide wisely depends on their ability to see clearly. You have to leave the darkness behind before you can build something that survives in the light. Walking away from a compromised system is the first step toward building a legacy that lasts. Truth is a tool for liberation. It allows the builder to work without compromise and ensures the consumer never has to guess what they are buying. When the hidden games and ghost authorities are stripped away, you are left with the highest possible standard. It is the only one that stands beyond the grave, uncompromising truth.